In a bit of a change for the channel, I have here a Moog Prodigy from the late 70s, and something's missing. Well, I've got it taken apart for reasons which will soon become apparent. This came in because the power cable had pulled out. It had the old crimp style. It just squeezes from one direction, and the jacket had frayed. You can see a little bit of the frayed jacket there. So I just took that crimp out and removed a bit of the insulation, shortened the wires, put a new rotational cable gland that applies force from all directions. And the old wires, of course, had quick connects, so I soldered on quick connects here and here on the positive and neutral, but put in a soldered ground lug here. So that's all nice and tight and solid, and we have power again. While I had it open like this, I cleaned everything, and I noticed that all these places here on the board where the pots are actually held in place mechanically, all those mechanical connections for the pots, which are not attached to the chassis, they all had little hairline cracks in them. So I've reflowed all of those, and I've gone through the entire thing and make sure nothing else needed it, and anything that did got a touch up, and then I removed any excess flux that the additional solder added. And I noticed this screw does not have the nut on it that used to be there. It's a number 632, so let me put one on there. The camera is right where I would normally lean in, so get that started. On to the next bit. So I took the keyway out, and the entire assembly is dirty and full of pet hair. So I'm going to take all the keys out carefully, put them to the side. I'll clean off all the funk. These aren't as bad as some, but they're not great. And why is that? There it goes. And then once the white ones are out of the way, the black ones slide out. This will take a bit, so bear with me. All right, now that all the keys are off, I can see they're just chock full of dog hair and dust and dirt. So I'm going to carefully, I don't want to get the felt areas wet, but I'm going to get in here with some isopropyl. First I'm going to vacuum it out and get any of the large bits of hair and dust out. Then what the vacuum doesn't get, I might do some compressed air and then some selective isopropyl alcohol. Paying particular attention to those gold contacts there. You see those? There's a wire that they make contact with, and those surfaces need to be clean and not have any corrosion or dirt, and just one dog hair, here's an example, might be a cat hair, can screw up the works, because when I first tested this after fixing the power, certain keys would not reliably trigger. I wasn't getting any double triggers, but I was getting some that sometimes they'd work and sometimes they didn't. So this should be a pretty easy process, just painstaking. Just got to go slow and make sure I do no harm, only good. It's the Hippocratic synth. All right, I have gotten out so much yuck out of here. So much hair, so much grease. Someone had used some kind of contact grease on all this stuff, and it just grabbed all the lint in the world. That's all gone, and I've cleaned the wires that the contacts are touching when the key's depressed. And I think we're going to be okay at this point. There's a lot of spots with this kind of corrosion you can see here. Don't spill a Coke on one of these if you haven't a vintage synth. Just, use your brain, people, use your brain. But none of the corrosion is in the money area where the contact is made. So I think we're going to be okay. Let me hook this up to the synth before putting the keys back on and dial up a basic sound, like a percussive organ kind of sound, so we can really hear any triggering. And then we'll just depress each one and I'll make sure that everything's good. Then we'll put the keys back in place. Okay, I've got a relatively fast attack, kind of awful sound dialed in just so I can better hear any false triggering. That was not a very good musical performance, but I never trained with one of these. Anyway, now I know that all the triggers are working again. I can put this back together and see what all the knobs and switches do. All right, it's all put back together. It'd be fun if this were hooked up to a sequencer. Every time I play one of these kind of things, I think, I need one. Then I remember I can do all that in the computer these days, but something fun about doing it the old school way. Thanks for watching.